Welcome to the WorldWire Update. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon for more updates and thrilling short scenes. In a stunning and unprecedented move, Boeing has announced it will shift a major portion of its iconic 737 MAX jet production out of the United States, sending shockwaves through the American aerospace industry and beyond. For the first time in its storied history, the company is breaking with tradition and moving significant manufacturing operations overseas. The decision to relocate assembly to Canada and India marks a dramatic break from Boeing's legacy as a symbol of American manufacturing might, and signals a new era for the company, one that is no longer rooted solely in the United States. This move is not just about geography, it's about shifting priorities, global competition, and the relentless pursuit of lower costs in a rapidly changing world. CEO David Calhoun cited the need to stay competitive in a global market, pointing to lower labor costs, streamlined supply chains, and fewer regulatory hurdles abroad as key factors in the decision. For generations of American workers, this feels like a profound betrayal. Boeing was more than a company. It was a national icon, a source of pride, and a pillar of local economies. The 737 MAX has supported tens of thousands of high-paying jobs, and its departure strikes at the heart of communities in Washington and South Carolina, threatening not just livelihoods but the very identity of these regions. Local businesses that depended on Boeing's presence now face an uncertain future, as the ripple effects of this decision spread far beyond the factory gates. The reaction has been one of shock, disbelief, and anger, raising urgent questions about the future of American industry, the fate of skilled workers, and the country's ability to compete on the world stage. As the dust settles, America faces the sobering reality that one of its most storied companies is looking elsewhere for its future, leaving behind uncertainty, loss, and a nation searching for answers. Boeing's decision to relocate major operations didn't happen overnight. It's the result of years of mounting pressure, both internally and externally, as the company struggled to keep up with growing expectations and regulatory demands. Employees on the factory floor felt the strain, with deadlines slipping and morale dropping as uncertainty grew. The situation reached a breaking point when Boeing was hit with a devastating blow from its own regulator, the Federal Aviation Administration. On September 26, 2025, the FAA announced it would not certify the new 737 MAX 10 until late 2026, citing ongoing safety and manufacturing issues. This public setback sent shockwaves through the industry, raising questions about Boeing's ability to deliver on its promises and shaking investor confidence. The delay threatened Boeing's ability to compete with Airbus, its biggest rival, as airlines around the world demanded new, efficient aircraft to meet surging travel demand. With every month lost, more customers considered switching to Airbus, putting billions of dollars in future orders at risk. CEO Calhoun publicly blamed regulatory gridlock, arguing that Boeing could no longer afford to have its future dictated by unpredictable oversight and shifting requirements. He insisted that the company needed a fresh start to restore its reputation and secure its future. By moving key operations to Canada and India, Boeing hopes to escape the intense scrutiny that has paralyzed its progress at home. These new locations offer not only regulatory relief, but also access to skilled labor and growing aerospace markets. The company's leadership saw endless delays, mounting losses, and a shrinking competitive edge in the US, and viewed relocation as a necessary act of survival. For many, it was a painful but unavoidable decision. For Boeing, this move is about regaining control of its destiny, even if it means leaving its historic home behind and facing an uncertain future abroad. The stakes have never been higher. The news sent shockwaves through the political landscape, drawing an immediate and explosive response from former President Donald Trump. Never one to shy away from controversy, Trump seized the moment to make his voice heard, amplifying the outrage felt by many of his supporters. On social media, Trump unleashed a scathing condemnation of Boeing's decision, calling it a blatant betrayal of American workers and the nation's industrial legacy. He placed the blame squarely on the Biden administration, accusing it of suffocating American industry with burdensome regulations and misguided policies that, in his words, drove one of our greatest companies into the arms of foreign competitors. Trump argued that the government's excessive oversight and lack of meaningful support had left Boeing with no choice but to look elsewhere, warning that more American giants could follow if nothing changed. He painted a dire picture of a nation losing its edge, its workers left behind. Trump's fiery message quickly ignited a political firestorm in Washington. Republican lawmakers echoed his outrage, demanding urgent congressional hearings and pointing fingers at the FAA for what they called regulatory overreach and bureaucratic interference. Across the country, Trump's supporters rallied to his side, staging protests and flooding social media with messages of solidarity. For them, Boeing's move became a powerful symbol of national decline and the erosion of American strength. Democrats, however, pushed back forcefully. They insisted that strict safety oversight is non-negotiable, and argued that Boeing's troubles stemmed from years of corporate mismanagement and risky decisions, not government action. The stage is now set for a bitter and deeply partisan clash, with Boeing's departure fueling a new front in the ongoing culture war over the future of American industry and the role of government in protecting it. As the dust settles, one thing is clear. The fallout from Boeing's decision is just beginning, and its impact will be felt far beyond the factory floor. The real victims of Boeing's decision are the thousands of American workers whose jobs are now at risk. The shift will hit factories in Washington and South Carolina hardest, threatening not just jobs, but entire communities built around Boeing. Labor unions have condemned the move as corporate greed, warning it will erode America's aerospace skills base. Up to 10,000 high-skilled positions could be lost, with ripple effects endangering tens of thousands more across the supply chain. For many, Boeing was a lifelong career. Now it feels like the ultimate betrayal. Lawmakers promise action, but for workers, the future is uncertain. Boeing's retreat didn't happen overnight. It's the result of a disastrous decade. The 737 MAX crashes in 2018 and 2019 exposed deep flaws in Boeing's safety culture and design process, shattering public trust. Despite leadership changes and pledges to improve, quality issues persisted, including a near-catastrophic incident in 2024 when a door panel blew off mid-flight. Financially, Boeing has struggled with production slowdowns, cash burn, and asset sales. The relentless scrutiny from the FAA and negative headlines created a perfect storm. Boeing's leadership now sees the U.S. as toxic to recovery, haunted by past mistakes. Moving operations abroad is a radical reset, an attempt to escape its legacy and rebuild elsewhere. But the shadow of scandal may follow. The FAA's transformation, after the MAX crashes, turned it into a relentless watchdog, embedding inspectors and capping Boeing's production. This hypervigilance was meant to restore public trust, but for Boeing, it meant constant delays and operational paralysis. The FAA's refusal to lift production caps and its slow certification process for new jets left Boeing unable to meet demand. Whistleblowers from within Boeing fueled the agency's scrutiny, exposing a culture that prioritized speed over safety. While the FAA's actions aim to protect the public, Boeing's leadership now sees the regulatory environment as unsustainable. The move abroad is a direct rejection of this new reality. Boeing is betting it can find a more cooperative relationship with regulators elsewhere. Boeing's exit marks a pivotal moment for the company and for American industry. Setting up new assembly lines abroad will be costly and disruptive, with no guarantee of success. The loss of high-skilled jobs could trigger a brain drain, weakening America's aerospace expertise and national security. Meanwhile, Airbus and Chinese competitors stand to gain as Boeing stumbles. The move could shift the center of gravity in global aviation away from the U.S. for the first time. Boeing's gamble may save the company or hasten its decline. For America, it's a wake-up call about the balance between regulation and competitiveness. The story of Boeing is now a cautionary tale for the future of American industry.